This is a space where you can remove the mask and be your true self. You're now entering a judgment-free zone where no topics are off limits. I am your host, Darnique, and your access has now been granted. Welcome to the Vulnerable Room. Hey everybody, and welcome on back to Season 4, Episode 2 of the Vulnerable Room podcast. I am your host, Neek, and I just want to say I appreciate you guys for being patient with me. At work, we're in preparations for the next fiscal year. It's budget season, and I'm not going to lie, once I get home, I just want to relax. I am spent. I just want to unplug for a little bit. And sometimes it's a lot getting in front of the camera. So I said, you know what? Let me get behind this mic and just get this out there and keep this thing moving. So I just really appreciate you guys, my listeners, for always being patient with me. So with that being said, let's catch up. I have a whole bunch of life updates and topics for today that I want to tap into. So first things first, let's talk about the show Harlem. Now, Harlem is a show on Amazon Prime, and it's about 4 Black women who live in New York City, and they're a group of friends. They all have their individual stories, and if you haven't checked it out, please check it out. Unfortunately, they were not renewed for a new season, per usual with all of these, Black shows. And the show was basically, this was the season finale, the last episode, this last season. So I would like to give my honest review because I feel like there's a little bit to unpack within the last season. And this will be a spoiler alert. If you guys have not watched it, I suggest maybe skipping past this because I don't want to be blamed for ruining it for you. Okay? So I felt like this season was so rushed. Just like in comparison to, when Insecure was going off air, I just felt like it was rushed and there was a lot of things left unanswered. I don't understand how Black shows, get canceled at the speed of light, but a show like Grey's Anatomy that's written by a Black woman, Shonda Rhimes, but the characters are mainly white faces, the shows stay on the air longer. Grey's Anatomies have 20 seasons? I don't understand. But anyways, back to Harlem. Camille couldn't really enjoy her pregnancy. I didn't like the whole single mother storyline. And the way it was written, the viewers didn't think that Ian told Portia that Camille was pregnant. We also saw that Angie called off her engagement. She basically couldn't have both. Her man wanted her to live in his shadow, and he didn't understand or felt like she should be taking acting seriously. He wanted to be the breadwinner. He wanted to take care of her. But she's like, I got my own money. I worked hard to get to this point. So let me be. But he just wasn't happy for her when she, got the leading role in Girls Trip, the Broadway play. And I feel like a lot of women deal with that where you can't have both. You can't be a successful woman and be, an equal with your partner. And we saw that with Angie's story. Quinn's ending, finding out Seth is dating someone else. He's a polygamist. And I just felt like, even though, as we can see on social media, this is Kofi's, this is him in real life. He believes in polygamy. So he wasn't acting. He was not acting in Harlem. However, I just felt like, damn, okay, no matter what, Quinn cannot get her happy ending. And I feel like that is sometimes the reality with most black women in all these shows and in real life, it's just like we fall in love, and sometimes the person is not, sometimes the person is not who we expecting them to be. So, going to become a single mom, doing the whole, I guess, getting a sperm donor, going through that process. She was willing to do it by herself, but then she runs into her ex. I just felt like that was very cheesy, but whatever. Then Ty. Ty is my favorite character on Harlem. I just felt like, why we couldn't see her go back home to Atlanta, to her family? They left us on a cliffhanger with that one, for real. We know that with her family back home in Atlanta, they weren't accepting of her lifestyle. And I just felt like that would have been the closure to Ty's story that we needed to see. So honestly, the ending with this show, with all of these shows for that matter, with a black cast, we're on a chopping block after a few seasons. For example, you got Insecure, Run the World, Harlem, Greenleaf, Queen Sugar, Being Mary Jane, etc. But Harlem, I just love that the friendship dynamic was not toxic. And we always see that in black stories, shows. And for once, this wasn't one. And I enjoyed their friendship dynamic. I'm not going to lie. Some of the, scenes had me crying, tearing up. But to be honest, I just felt like, why does this show have to end? Like, how did we get here? The show literally just started. It sucks, but hey, this is a cycle with a lot of these black shows, and that's why I try not to get too attached, because when I get really into it, then the next thing you know, a few seasons later, oh, this show has not been approved to have another season. This show will be canceled. And it's like, see, here we go. So y'all, feel free to DM me, comment on my stories on the pods page, and let me know your thoughts regarding Harlem. If you agree with me or if you disagree with me, I would love to chat. So, next life update. I have some book reviews for you guys. So I've read 5 books since the year started. My goal is to hit 35 books this year, but I feel like I am determined to surpass that. So the first book that I've read is entitled Finding Me by Viola Davis. This book, I would rate it a 10 out of 10. I love a great memoir. This was a great read to kick off the new year. The honesty, the rawness, the vulnerability in Viola's story is like, wow. I truly appreciate how she balanced triumph with struggle. And it's literally like going from being broken to a boss. Shout out to my girl Des. Viola is really that girl. Like, I've always loved her, but this book made me fall in love with her story even more. So if you like a great memoir, put that on your list. I'm sure you will enjoy it. My next book, The Coworker by Frida McFadden. Frida, like I say this all the time, but like she has done it again. I flew through this book. Listening to the audiobook had me saying, wait, what? Multiple times. This story also reinforces why I don't trust people at work. Ironically, my coworker recommended this book, and now I'm side-eyeing I'm side-eyeing her. Frida's plot twists are wild, and her storytelling never fails to captivate me and evoke such a range of emotions. This was another good read, so I will rate this book an 8 out of 10. Book number 3, It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I feel like every woman should read this book. After watching the movie, I think it's still available on Netflix. I'm not 100% sure, but I decided to finally give the book a try. And I'm so glad that I did. I feel like, the book always has a little bit more tea than the actual movie or series. But this is a powerful story that thoughtfully addresses abuse and highlights the importance of breaking generational curses. While the movie was great, I think the book offers an even deeper and more impactful experience. It's such a great story, and I can't wait to read the sequel. So, if I was to rate this book, I would say an 8 out of 10. Moving forward to book number 4, The Crash by Frida McFadden. If y'all haven't realized and picked up on it by now, I am getting hooked on to Frida McFadden's books. I've never been into suspense and psychological thrillers, but here we are. So, book number 4, The Crash, Frida delivers another gripping thriller with this book. From the very first chapter, the book comes in hot, immediately pulling you into the suspense. As expected, the plot twist was impeccable. However, some parts of the story felt a bit like drawn out, with moments where it seemed like we were going in circles, just waiting for the next big reveal. Despite that, I still enjoyed it and appreciated the tension building throughout the book. So I will rate this book a 7 out of 10. Now, book number 5, The Housemaid. Frida, you good? An absolute roller coaster, you hear me? Every twist and turn had me gasping and jumping and genuinely scared at times. I have no idea what goes through Frida's mind, but her pen game is immaculate. I never considered myself a fan of thrillers or psychological suspense, like I mentioned, but this book completely changed that for me. I'm officially hooked. I cannot wait to dive into the sequel and part 3. So, if you heard about how great this book is, believe the hype, because it really is. And I'm glad that I finally gave it a try. So, next life update. As you know, the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Fly, Eagles, fly. Nah, I'm a New York girly, but I just love how passionate the Eagles fans are out here. They do not play. Okay? Yeah. I feel like they have such a triumphant story, especially Saquon Barkley. He was let go by the Giants in the offseason, and then he chose to come home. He signed with the Eagles. And now look, he is a Super Bowl champion for the first time. And I bet you the Giants is over there punching the air. Okay? I love his story, and I feel that you should not ever allow anyone to count you out. Ever. No matter if they let you go out of their lives, whether if you be, at work, personal relationships, friendships, whatever the case may be, do not allow people to count you out. You have a story, you have a gift, and someone will see your value. Keep pushing, never give up. And whenever you're down, just know that there will always be an up. And that's what I got out of his story. He was super emotional when, he was talking about his win, his team's win. Like how you come back home and you win your first Super Bowl. That is nothing but God, I tell you. Then Kendrick's performance, a lot of people had mixed reviews, but I personally felt like I enjoyed his performance. Kendrick Lamar, I personally feel that he is a lyricist, and he's not one of those I make music for Zara type rappers. You have to really listen to his music to really understand what he is trying to say. Because he says so many lines, so many metaphors, and it just goes over your head when you're just listening to it 1 or 2 times. And I love the story that he painted for the Super Bowl halftime show. It was Black History Month. It's like, what do you guys expect? He took his opportunity to perform and he gave us a show. He danced. He played, he performed some of his hit songs from like the Black Panther album. Let's not forget that. That album was fire. And it always gives me chills each and every time I hear certain songs from the soundtrack. And him bringing on SZA, I mean, it's cool. I felt like we could have did without her, but it was a great show overall. I just don't understand what people expected for Kendrick Lamar to do. Like, we can't keep comparing everyone's artistry to one another, because how would you guys feel if you had a craft and people just continue to compare you to someone that's not in your lane? Or y'all don't have the same sound, the same type of message that you put out with your music. Like, comparison is the thief of joy. And I just wish that people would just give others some grace. Like, stop comparing them to the Michael Jacksons, the Whitney Houstons, the Beyoncés. They are in their own lane. Okay? And speaking of Beyonce, I don't know about y'all, but I am so tired of the ticket Hunger Games. Whether it's for an event, whether it's for a concert, whatever, I am tired. Like, I literally went on, like when the tickets were released, I went on Ticketmaster, to look up prices for the Cowboy Carter tour, and the section that I was sitting in, for the Renaissance tour. I was in a section that was literally one level up above the floor. Why are tickets with the fee included for Ticketmaster? Why are we looking at $800? Bar? I am so confused. So them tickets sat right there, and I'll try again closer to the date, see if I could get cheaper tickets, because I can't do it. I'm sorry. Love Beyonce. She gives an amazing performance, but I can't. So hopefully a miracle happens where I can attend. If not, it's okay. I can't. So Valentine's Day just passed, and I saw a lot of love up and down my timeline, whether if it was love from someone you're dating, or it was Galentine's Day. It was just a lot of cuteness overload. I will say that I guess you could say, I participated in Valentine's Day this year. It was the first time in a long time. I received some beautiful flowers from a special gentleman. And yeah, I would say, just in short, guys, like, don't be afraid to say what it is that you need and what you like. And it's okay if the person is not open to it, because then that just tells you everything that you need to know. However, I feel like, if you're dating, men, if you're dating a woman and you really care for this person as you say you do, it's okay. So what if Valentine's Day is a commercialized holiday? It's the day of showing love and affection, admiration, things of that nature. And if you feel like Valentine's Day should be every day, then every time you see your woman, for the most part, get her some flowers. If you know that's what she likes. If she likes Starbucks, get her a Starbucks gift card. If she likes books, get her a nice book gift card from Barnes and Nobles or Amazon, something. Like, you know, you just really have to. It's okay to teach people how to treat you, and it's okay for them to teach you how to treat them. What you may value as important, they may not value, and that's okay. But it's good to have those type of conversations, because it'll save the trouble in the long run. But I did like a little excerpt from my personal point of view about this holiday on my page. So if you go through my highlights, you'll probably be able to see them. But in short, I just felt like it's important to share that it's okay to teach people how to treat you. You have to speak up and not assume that the person knows, and vice versa. They need to speak up too as well. Everyone's love language is different. So it felt great to receive those flowers. It felt very nice. I felt appreciated. I felt that he heard me. I felt seen as well. So, yeah. And I'm going to put a pin there on that note. So, yeah, guys, you know, Valentine's Day is a beautiful thing. So, another life update, I lost 20 pounds officially. Um, and that's a blessing because it was very tough for me. At one point, I was just losing inches, but now I lost 20. I plan to lose some more. Um, I've been feeling pretty good. Pretty good. So I try to hit the gym during the week. My minimum is 3 times, and my maximum is 5 times a week. That's my goal for the new year. And I want to get to my target weight. So once I get to my target weight, I will share that with you guys. But for right now, I'm on this journey and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying how my body is changing, how I'm feeling differently, how I have more energy in the morning because I'm a 5 a.m. girly. But by the time I get home, I am beat, which also plays into me putting out this episode pretty late. So, again, I appreciate you guys' patience, and I promise it won't be this long of a wait again. So, yeah, but your girl has been working. And another life update, I found out just yesterday that Angie Stone passed away in a tragic car accident. My heart goes out to her and her family. She was young. I feel like Angie Stone is a legend. You hear her voice on a track, you know that it's her. A lot of people didn't know that she sung the anthem for Girlfriend, the infamous sitcom that's available on Netflix. By the way, if you haven't tapped into that, it's a very good show to watch as an adult. But nonetheless, it's very saddening. And Angie Stone, like, she was just talking about how the label robbed her of her royalties a few years back. And then to hear that she just passed away like this, it's it's disheartening. So my heart and my prayers go out to her family. It's just like 2025 is just started off with a bang in January. Here we are in March, and it just it just never fails. It's always something. And I just wasn't expecting, no one was expecting to hear that news, you know? She's a legend and she had so much more life to live, but I just honestly pray that her family finds peace at this time. My last life update. This is my birthday month, guys. Yes, it's officially Pisces season. My birthday is March 12th. So yeah, feel free to show me some love on March 12th. Definitely took the day off because who wants to work on their birthday? That should be illegal. So yes, I'm looking forward to it. I don't have nothing extravagant planned, but I just want to relax and unwind. And yeah, I feel like if you're not on vacation or going on vacation, to plan like an outing at this big age, like it's a lot of work. And who wants to do work when they're not at work, you know? But yes, I am going to celebrate the calm way. May go to New York for the weekend, but I'm still thinking about that. But I'm leaning more so towards it. But yes, the B Day is rapidly approaching. I'm not sure if you're familiarized with that sound, but that sound means it is time for Room for Advice. So, as you all may know, Room for Advice is now a new segment here in the Vulnerable Room. Your message will be featured on an episode in season 4, and so forth. This is your space to ask me anything. You need advice? You want to share a thought? Or just want to show me some love? I'm all ears. You can remain anonymous if you like. Let's dive into the first message I have received for the day.
Hi, Nick. So I would like to remain anonymous, but I have done a lot of personal work on myself over the last year or so, and I love me. I'm in the best era of my life that I feel like I've never loved myself more. So I want to preface that by saying that. But because I struggle with dating. I struggle a lot with rejection. I've been rejected in relationships and dating pretty much my whole life. So I have like a trauma response to that. And even when it's not a full on rejection, it's usually I'm just kind of friend zoned. Um, but I just want to know that now that I've found myself, I love myself. Um, I'm coming into this area where I feel like I'm ready for partnership, but how to navigate that without having an anxious attachment style of feeling like that relationship is going to be fleeting. How to feel secure in dating.
Hey, girl. Well, for starters, I am loving the self love and the full transparency about the trauma response to rejection. I know a lot of us don't like rejection, and it's a part of life, whether if it's in, when it comes to relationships, applying for a new job, etc. I know it sounds cliche, but rejection is God's protection. And I know you're probably tired of hearing that, but it's so true. And quite frankly, we're not everybody's cup of tea, and that is okay. There's somebody out there for you. God put us on this earth to procreate, and yeah, we all have a soulmate out there somewhere. So, to answer the first part of your question, how to navigate dating without having an anxious attachment style, I would say develop self security first. Like, build a strong sense of self worth that isn't dependent on the need of validation from someone else. Remind yourself that you are enough, regardless of how someone else feels about you. I feel like in this case, you need to start speaking affirmations like, I am worthy of love and connection without having to chase it. It can definitely help shift your mindset. Focus on the present, not the future. Avoid creating expectations too soon. Let things develop naturally. So, for me personally, I'm learning how to live in the moment, live in the now. If you're an overthinker like myself, you can like low key sabotage the experience. Not everybody's here to be a permanent figure in our lives. Some people are here for a reason and for a season. Instead of asking, where is this thing going when you're dating too early, focus on, how do I feel when I'm with this person? Enjoy the process rather than rushing toward a defined outcome. Learn to regulate your emotions before reacting. So if you feel triggered, example, like they take too long to text back, or they said they was going to call you back and didn't, take a step back before reacting. Ask yourself, is this a real threat, or am I reacting based on past fears, which is, in relation to trauma? Journaling or talking to a trusted friend or a therapist can help process emotions without projecting them onto the person you're dating. Also, choose secure partners. If you tend to feel anxious, avoid people who are inconsistent or emotionally unavailable. A secure partner will make you feel safe, not confused or on edge. Look for consistency in their actions and ask yourself, do they follow through on what they say? Now, for the second part of your question, how to feel secure in dating. One, I would simply say trust yourself first. Confidence in your intuition and judgment helps prevent overthinking every action or word. Remind yourself that you are capable of handling whatever happens, good or bad. Taking things at your own pace. Rushing can create anxiety. Don't I know it? While allowing things to unfold naturally builds comfort and stability. Set expectations that feel right for you rather than conforming to someone else's timeline. You have to do what works best for you and only you because you know the ins and outs of your situation. Communicate openly. Express your needs and feelings clearly without fear of being too much, quote unquote. Pay attention to how your partner responds. Someone who values you will listen and respect your concerns. Lastly, let actions speak louder than words. Consistency is key. If someone's words don't align with their actions, trust what they do more than what they say. If you constantly feel uncertain, ask yourself whether their behavior supports security or confusion. I truly hope that this answers your question. And I hope that you continue to go through dating and just have fun. Don't put too much pressure and expectations. Once you feel like you and the person have a conversation about, the initial conversations about what you guys are both aligned with as far as your morals and your values, and you guys get past that, just enjoy each other's company. Whatever happens, happens. That's where I'm at, and that's the best advice that I can give you. I hope that this helps, and I hope that this landed well. And thank you again for your message. That message touched me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm loving these guys. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. All right, we got one more voicemail, and we will then dive into today's topic.
Hello? Is this the vulnerable room? Ah! Hi, Nick. I just want to give a call to say thank you so much for creating a space where everyone can feel safe, express their concerns, listen to other people's concerns, and also know that, what we're going through in life, we're not dealing with it alone. So I just wanted to give a shout out just to say thank you and that I love you. And if you don't know who this is, it's your little sister. So proud. Love you. Bye.
What do you even mean if I don't know who this is? Like, what the hell? We sound just alike sometimes. Okay. Guys, I love my little sister. That's my that's my little BDB. Okay, thank you so much for your kind words. I truly appreciate it. You know, you were one of the few I came to about this vision that I've had to create this safe space by utilizing, the podcast platform to just create a safe space to discuss what us as young adults go through. And thank you so much for believing in me since this was just a small vision. And I don't know why I'm getting emotional right now. But I really love you so much. And I thank you for always being in my corner no matter what. You're my number one supporter. I'm your number one cheerleader. And God did his big one when he gave me you. Okay? So continue to make me proud. And I will continue to do the same. I will continue to lead by example as your big sister. And I love you, Kay. Thank you. Not me over here showing the Pisces is Piscean right now. Okay. Thank you, Kay. Today's topic is entitled The Illusion of Having It Together. We're talking about the pressures to have it all together in this episode. Let me ask y'all a question. Why do so many of us feel like we need to be perfect? Like we need to have every part of our lives figured out by a certain age? How many of you thought by the age of 25, 30, 35, etc.? How many of you thought that you would have had the career of your dreams, the family, the husband, the wife? Like, how many of you sincerely thought that way? I know I have. The truth is, no one actually has it all together, guys. No matter how put together they might look from the outside. And yet, society, family, and even our own expectations keep telling us we should. So, in this episode, we're breaking it all down: the origins of this pressure, the toll it takes on our mental and emotional well being, and most importantly, how we can let go of the unrealistic expectations we place on ourselves. So let's get into it. What does having it all together even mean? When we say someone has it all together, what do we really mean by that? Most of the time, we're talking about the big areas of life such as career, relationships, finances, mental health, and even appearance. But here's the thing: having it all together in every area all the time is just not realistic. Think about it. Some people have a fire career, but struggle in their personal lives. Others might be in a great relationship, but feel lost in their career. And then there are those who look like they have the perfect life online, but behind closed doors, they're battling anxiety, debt, or self doubt. Where does this pressure come from? A lot of these pressures come from external sources like ding, 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 social media, cultural expectations, and even well meaning family members. Social media, especially, makes it so easy to compare ourselves to others. We see someone our age buying a house, getting married, or starting a business, and suddenly we feel like we're doing something wrong because we're not there yet. I know I have been really guilty of this. They say comparison is the thief of joy. And I will sit here when I'm in my bag and I will compare myself to others like, why am I not there yet? Why I don't have this? But social media only allows us to see what people chooses for us to see. And let's not forget cultural and generational expectations. In some families, success is defined in very specific ways: go to college, get a high paying job, get married, have kids. But what happens when your life doesn't follow that specific timeline? Let's talk about the myth of balance. We often hear a lot about work life balance, quote unquote. But let's be honest, y'all. Can we really have it all at the same time? Maybe the goal isn't to have it all together, but to find peace with where we are in each season of life. I personally think that if I had this all going at the same time, being married, having a kid, having the career, going back to school, getting a promotion, all of these things going on at the same time, I don't know, y'all. Like, I personally get overwhelmed easily, and I know my anxiety would be through the roof. So I feel like right now, God is easing me into it. And although I have my moments where I'm like, God, please, it's me, your daughter. Father King, you hear me? Like, when is the husband coming? When am I going to have, little ones? When am I going to get the house? I feel like he's easing me into it. And I'm going to continue to trust him. I'm going to trust the process. Although there's times I get impatient, I'm going to trust the process. Now let's talk about the impact this pressure has on us. The stress, the anxiety, and the constant feeling of being left behind. The pressure to have it all together doesn't just sit in the background. It affects how we think, how we feel, and how we move through life. The anxiety of feeling behind. So there's this unspoken timeline we all think we should be following. And when we fall off track, Whether that's being single at 30, changing careers, or not owning a home yet, we start feeling like we failed in some way. Let's talk about comparison and imposter syndrome. Comparison is a very dangerous game. We compare our behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel, and that fuels imposter syndrome. This feeling that we're not good enough, that we're faking it, that any success we do have is just luck. The fear of failure. Let's be real. So many of us are afraid to admit when we're struggling. I know I am. I am, woo, Lord, I will sit here like in true Pisces fashion. I will want to sit here and help everybody else. But when it comes to me struggling, look around, everybody on mute. Mute, honey. I will sit here and suffer in silence. And I know that's not healthy. And I'm working on that and through that with therapy. But yeah, so many of us are afraid to admit when we're struggling. We don't want to look weak or like we don't have our lives together. But the truth is, none of us do. And the sooner we accept that, the freer we'll feel. So, how do we move forward? How do we stop chasing perfection and start embracing where we are? The key is shifting from perfection to progress. First, we need to start practicing self-compassion. We need to be kinder to ourselves. If you wouldn't judge a friend for not having everything figured out, why do you judge yourself so harshly? Hey! Like I say all the time, as I'm talking to y'all, I am talking to myself, okay? 2, letting go of society's timeline. Your life doesn't have to look like anyone else's. Set goals that make sense for you, not what social media or your family expects. 3, learning to trust the process. Life is full of unknowns, and that's okay. Sometimes the best things happen when we don't have a plan. 4, personal reflection. I can think of so many moments when I felt lost, but looking back, those seasons were necessary for growth. Sometimes the things we think are setbacks are really just redirections. I just would like to offer some encouragement and advice. Y'all, at the end of the day, you're not behind. You're on your timeline, and that's the only one that matters. If you take nothing else from this episode, remember this. You are not behind, you are not failing, and you don't have to have it all figured out to be worthy, successful, or enough. I would like to leave you guys with a quote. I wanted to keep this episode as short and light as possible. You are allowed to be both a masterpiece and a work in progress at the same time. And this is quoted by Sophia Bush. Y'all, that's all I have for you guys today. I love to hear your thoughts on today's episode. DM me, email me, or share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. And lastly, take a deep breath, give yourself some grace, and celebrate where you are right now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. That's all I have for you. And I'll see you in the next episode of The Vulnerable Room. With that being said, guys, please have a productive week. I love you all. Be safe. Bye. Come on, y'all. We know these combos ain't for the faint. Thank you for listening to the Vulnerable Room podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, head on over to Anchor or Spotify to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Follow at The Vulnerable Room on Instagram or visit thevulnerableroom.com for the latest tea. See you next time. Love you all and have a great week.